Today we are solving Leetcode 1431, kids with the greatest number of candies. So the problem statement is there are n kids with candies. You are given an integer array candies, where each candies at index I represents the number of candies the ith kid has, and an integer extra candies denoting the number of extra candies that you have. Return a Boolean array result of length n, where result at index I is true, if after giving the ith kid all the extra candies, they will have the greatest number of candies among all of the kids, or false otherwise. Note that multiple kids can have the greatest number of candies. Note that, so we have to note that multiple kids can have the greatest number of candies. And as an example, we have input candies 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, and extra candies is 3. And we have 2 here. This is going to be true because he could have the most amount of candies if we give it to that specific kid. And false if it's not going to even have the most amount of candies. So that's the explanation. From what I see here, it seems pretty simple. So I think for us to know if the kid is going to end up having the most amount of candies, we can pretty much like find the kids. We can find like the highest amount, I would say. Or we could also, what we could do actually is, because this is actually like a comparison, so between this kid, if we add the 3, it's going to be 5 here, and he's going to end up having the most. It's going to be tied, of course, between 5 and 5 here. And once we move to the second one, okay, so when we move to 3 and we add the 3, he's going to end up with 6. So that's going to be the most. 5, of course. With 3, it's going to end up with a lot of candies, 8. And with the 1, if you add 3, it's going to be 4. And 3 and 3, it's going to be 6. So I think there is probably a better way of doing this. I'm thinking, so the approach that I'm thinking about is pretty much that we have to first figure out how we can actually compare the current kid with the rest of all of these kids once he has like the extra candies. A way we can do that is probably by simply, because we want to know if the kid would end up having the most amount of candies. So let me think a little bit. Alright, so, but from my perspective is, my perspective is that if we find like the highest amount of candies, which is 5, and we added 3, it's going to end up to 8. So from that 8, we now know, so not exactly, my apologies, let me explain that again. So if we find the highest number of candies in the current candies array, which is 5, we could just kind of store that number as highest candy, and then from there we could compare as we give like each kid extra candy, we'll be able to compare and see if that current kid actually has more candies than the highest number of candies we found. Meaning if 2 plus 3 is greater or equal to 5, which is the highest, then we will actually put the true in that specific position in the array. So step 1 is going to be find the highest amount of candy. In the array. And step 2 is going to be iterate through the candies and give the current kid, and we'll give the current kid the extra candy. Step 3 is going to be to check if the current kid has, if the current kid's candies is greater or equal to the highest, to the kid with the most candy, initially, then add true. So that's going to be pretty much the process here. So that's my whole idea behind it, and we can start by creating, of course, that result array. So an integer array. Oh, it's actually supposed to be a list here. So list boolean, and from here we'll call it result is equal to a new list, and from here we can go here, and then first thing is to actually find the kid with the most amount of candy. Most candy is equal to 0, and from here we start a for loop, int candy for each candies, and if candy is greater than most candy, then we replace it. So most candy is now just going to be equal to candy. So we are done with step 1. So moving on to step 2 is to iterate through the candies. Like this, and what we'll do is if candy plus extra candies is greater than most candy, is greater or equal to most candy, then what we'll do is, let me go back here. Yeah, actually we already have results, so we can just do result that add true, else we'll just do results that add false, and that should be it. Perfect. And once we come back from that loop, we just want to return the results. We want to return results. Okay. And just making sure that everything is correct. We started with the list, which is going to be here, result. We have an integer most candy. We iterate through the candies to find the kid with the most amount of candy. So if the current candy is greater than most candy, we'll just replace it by doing this. That allows us to find the kid that has the most candy. And we just found the amount of candy, I should say. Once we have the amount of candies, most candy, we'll just go here and just iterate through the candies again to find. And once we iterate to that candies array, we'll be able to add to the current candy the extra candies, and we'll be able to compare and see if it's greater or equal to most candies. If it's the case, then we'll add true, to the result, and otherwise we'll just do result that add false, and we'll return it. Yeah, I feel good about that. Let's see. Okay, so we have a problem here. So listed abstract cannot be instantiated. Sure, we could just do something different. We could just call it an array list. Okay, we are passing those 3 tests. So now let's submit it and see if that works. Okay, great. I think that works pretty good. And we actually are running in just 1 millisecond, and we are beating 87.10% of submissions on Leetcode. So that's pretty good. I like it. And that's our solution. So I think the main thing as a recap is just find the kid that has the most candy from the very beginning. Once you know that, you could just iterate through the candies and just kind of give each kid the total amount of extra candies. And if that kid has the most amount of candies, or if that kid is actually tying the highest amount of candies, we know that this is true. So we just add the true to the results. Otherwise, we'll just do false. That's the gist of it. And we can do that in O of n times, and that's pretty good. Thank you for watching.